Hey YouTube, it's me, Brandon Colonel. The next video that I have for you is a knife review on the Kershaw Nura. This is the 3.5-inch model, which, I don't think that you can even buy the 3-inch anywhere just yet. They basically just announced that it's coming out, but that's definitely going to be coming out soon. But personally, I do prefer the bigger model myself, because this is just the right size for my hands. Any smaller and it might be a little bit too small. The reason why I say that is because, for one, there is this little flare out here, which basically prevents it from riding up any farther. But if you space out your hands at all, then this completely fills out the entire handle. And this is one of the most comfortable grips that I can do. But one of the reasons why I like this design so much is just because of how simple it is. I just like the overall simplicity of it, and it makes it feel a little bit more elegant, a little bit more gentleman-like, I guess. Just the overall simplicity is what makes it so beautiful. The titanium carbonitride coating on it, mixed with just the almost hand-rub satin look and feel to it, that just the contrast of the two colors really makes the blade pop out a little bit more. But also, if you look in the milling, then they've also got the tie-dye coating there, they've got it in the relief cut, and they've also got it on the pocket clip. All of that combined, it just makes this knife really stand out. And so this represents a more just a more gentleman's folder style knife that isn't really represented too much in my collection. I mean, the kind of gentleman's knives that I have would be something like this, my ZT770CF, or the CRKT Incendor, which I do not have with me right now, but because that is back home, so I don't have that with me to show you guys again, but just check out the review on that, and you'll see it. That's another gentleman folder I have. And then there's also the buck knife that I have, which, excuse me, I did not review that, just for the sole fact that it just doesn't stack up for me. It was every time I get the hiccups. But yeah, it just doesn't stack up for me because the steel was inferior. It had blade play coming out the wazoo. It just didn't stack up. But that's another gentleman folder that I have. I really don't have many others. This is one that I'll actually carry. Now, let's get into the specs of the knife. So, Kershaw Nura 3.5-inch. So, as you can tell, the blade is 3.5 inches. Now, when I actually measured it, it came in at a little under that, so don't completely expect a 3.5-inch unless they're only measuring the cutting edge, at which point going around the curve would probably give you 3.5 inches. But 3.5 inches of overall blade, no. The handle, forget exactly how much that is. Let me bring out my ruler. The handle is about 4.5 inches. And the blade is hollow ground, and it is just wicked sharp. And mind you, I have not even touched this up after putting it through all of its testing. When I first got it out of the box, then yeah, I did sharpen it, because the grinding on it was just very rough, and I didn't like the look of it at all, so I touched it up, put my own edge on it. It's fantastic now. Well, like I said, I've been testing this for about a week, maybe more, and the edge has held up very nicely. yeah. So as you can see, the edge really stands up. And the coating holds up fairly nicely as well. As you can see, there's absolutely no wear on here whatsoever. The lines you see is basically just leftover buildup from the cardboard cutting that I did. But it's not really any blemishes in the finish itself, so the tie-dye coating really works out here, and I am really impressed. My Kershaw Junkyard Dog, the 2.2 model, I've got that here. The DLC coating on here was actually weaker than my tie-dye coating. Why that happened, I have no idea, but there's more blemishes and scratches on this than there are on the tie-dye. So how exactly that works out is beyond me, because DLC is supposed to be much tougher. Now, I do know that pretty much any company that tells you that they're using a DLC coating and is charging in the $150, $200 range, they're not actually using DLC. Basically, you don't see actual DLC coatings until you get in the, maybe $600, $800 range, maybe even above. Because pretty much it's going to cost about $150 to $200 just to get the DLC coating itself. Because DLC is supposed to be as tough as ceramics. It's incredibly hard. And it is pretty darn close to impervious to any kind of scratches, no matter what you do to it. So if I can basically just run this exact knife through a piece of cardboard and see scratches on it, that is not DLC. What they're actually using is something close to PVD. I don't remember exactly what that stands for, but it's but I do know that you can actually look up this other reviewer, which is basically where I got the information from. It's Jim Skelton. Look up his channel, and pretty much just look up his review of the 770, the one that he actually bought himself. It has the black DLC coating, as they call it, but it's most likely actually a PVD coating. But yeah, just look that up, and he'll explain it to you a lot better. But yeah, so as far as this coating goes, it's really good. I like it a lot. I've been able to put it through quite a bit of cardboard, and absolutely no marks on it whatsoever. The bearing system is really good. I like this a lot. It's incredibly smooth. Now, when I first got it, it was a little gritty, so I took it apart, I cleaned it out. There was a little bit of extra metal shavings inside that just didn't look like they were properly cleaned out. So I cleaned that out, lubed up the pivot a little bit, and now it's an absolute rocket. It is incredibly fast. I do wish that the detent on here was a little bit tougher. I've been starting to find that I like a really tough detent, because there's only one knife in my collection that actually has an incredibly tough detent, and I've actually forgotten about it for quite some time, just for the simple fact that I really haven't carried it in forever. It's the CRKT M16-02Z. This has the toughest detent in my collection, and previously I was saying that this is one of the fastest knives that I own. This is pretty fast, but this has got a beat by a long shot. And it's really just simply all due to the detent system. Because this is incredibly smooth, yes. This one's got a beat for smoothness. But this one is just so fast on the detent. So I do wish that it had more of a detent like this one. If they did, this would be so much more of a rocket. And, like, I wouldn't even know what to do with that kind of speed. But yeah, so the bearing system on this is phenomenal, but I do wish it had a harder detent. The lock bar, it's basically got a little bit of milling. Here, let me line that up. You can see there's like a bit of a bowing out right here. They kind of milled out this portion, so that way you can grip with your thumb a little bit better. But just the way that they did it, it's a little sharp. So you'll want to build up a callus for that exact area, because like I said, it's a little sharp and it'll get irritating. So if you're like me and you flip your knives like about 1,000 times a day, then yeah, that's probably going to be a bit of a problem. But once you build up a callus, it really doesn't matter anymore, and you can continue flipping them 1,000 more times a day without a problem. But yeah, so just be aware of that from the start. One other thing that I noticed about the knife is there's something that's always bugged me about knives, no matter what you do. And that is these stupid lanyard holes. No matter what knife you put it on, there's always some kind of a lanyard hole somewhere. Wait, that actually doesn't have it. Let's see. This one's got it. Obviously, this one's got it. I just showed that one to you. Let me see. This one's got it. They all have these stupid lanyard holes, and I can't stand them. Now, what this knife did is pretty cool. They've got a pillar right here, but then you turn it over a bit, and you see an opening right here. That's so that you can fit some paracord or whatever kind of cord you want through it, and you can attach a lanyard in there. But you don't have to have a stupid hole for all the people who don't put lanyards on their knives like me. I do not use lanyards. They're an interesting concept, but beyond that, I don't use them. I mean, if I was carrying this knife, then I'm pretty much carrying it for the purpose of I don't want to see it. Now, I despise deep carry pocket clips in the first place. I think they're stupid. But basically, if I'm trying to carry a knife concealed, I don't want you to know about it. So why in the world would I carry a lanyard showing that I've got something attached to my pocket? And if you just carry deep carry so that way people don't have to see it, I mean, I can understand a lanyard to grip it a little bit better and get it out of your pocket easier, but either way, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. At least for me. For one, I've already got plenty of paracord that I carry already. I don't need more. So lanyards just don't make sense to me. I don't carry them. But this is a really nice compromise. It allows you to still be able to have the lanyard on there without actually putting a stupid hole that now I've got to live with. Because basically it's between either having the lanyard hole and owning an awesome knife, or not having a lanyard hole because you don't get the knife. And they really don't give you the option. It's either have lanyard hole or don't have the lanyard hole, but you're out of knife. So this one gives you the best of both worlds. Now, they also scored another mark on here by not tapping extra holes. I'm of the mind that says, if you're going to have a left-handed knife, make a left-handed model. The lock bar is designed for right-handed people. Why drill holes on the other side to make it a left-handed knife if you're not going to be able to move the lock bar to the other side? It makes absolutely no sense to me. So therefore, if you're going to make it left-handed holes, just make it a left-handed knife and sell it as a left-handed knife. CRKT does that. They call it the southpaw knife. Just about every model that they make has a southpaw version. At least in the M16 line, I know they've got a southpaw version. But yeah, just to do that. Make it a left-handed knife. And if you want to drill extra holes, then just make it tip up or tip down. But honestly, you can make it a tip up or a tip down model as well. I mean, just simply find out what the majority of people like, and make more of those. Maybe make only a couple hundred at a time for the other models. It's really not that difficult. For all the major retail stores, send out the most popular model that people always buy. And then keep the other models for whatever you get online. So as you can tell, this is a bit more of a rant than review on the knife. But sometimes you just kind of need to get that out. But the knife itself is pretty much perfect. I love it. It keeps a phenomenal edge. Has jimping right where you want it, right where you need it. The jimping is absolutely perfect. It's not too grippy, but yet at the same time, your thumb isn't going anywhere if you try to move it. It's just not overly sharp. Flip it around, and it's got jimping again right here, right where you need it, right where you want it. The clip is just absolutely perfect. They drilled it just right, and the simplicity and elegance of the clip is another thing that I just really like. Now let me show you how it rides in the pocket, because again, there's something about how this works that just gives it an elegance to it that I really like. And everything from just the way that it carries. It's really simple, but yet it's fairly easy to get out of the pocket. Now I carry it in my back pocket, so the back pocket is just a little bit thinner. So because of the tension on this, it is a little bit more difficult to get in my back pocket. But most people aren't really going to carry it there anyways. But just in case you do carry it like me, then yeah, the back pocket may be a little bit more trouble. But seeing as this is an EDC, then it's probably not going to matter that much. Because you have the time to fiddle around with it a little bit extra time. As far as blade play, there is a little bit of side to side, but no up and down whatsoever. I actually did have a bit of a problem with this coming loose on me. So I just Loctited it, and that solved the problem for quite a bit of time, but for whatever reason, this particular one, I don't know if it's across the board or not, but it did have a bit of a problem coming loose, even with the Loctite. So I'm basically just going to have maybe a monthly regimen of re-Loctiting it or so. But maybe it's just I didn't let the Loctite cure long enough. I don't know. I may one of these days just let it cure for a day or two while carrying another knife, which I'll definitely get that opportunity when my other knife comes in. Which, if you've been looking at my Facebook page, then I referenced a Holy Grail knife that I'm getting in soon, which basically you won't find out about what that is until it actually comes in. But long story short, I've been looking for it for 3 years, and I finally found it again exactly on my birthday. So more on that when it actually comes in, but I should have it in about a week, maybe 2. But yeah, so just overall, I really like this knife, which I don't think I told you, but just a regular stainless steel frame lock here, and 8CR13 MOV stainless steel for the blade. Oh, and another thing that I really like is the pocket clip that is pretty much bordering on custom. Will that focus at all? There we go. Yeah, this is pretty much bordering on a custom pivot, and it's really nice. I like it a lot. But yeah, so and I also put jimping on the flipper tab, which it's not quite as grippy as the jimping here, but it is pretty good. But I find that that this is more of a push button than a light switch anyways. So I mean, you can get it open by doing this, but it's a lot quicker if you push button it. So yeah, just At least for me it is. I don't know about anybody else's model, but mine is more of a push button. But yeah, so as far as the testing that I did on it, I was opening it, all kinds of packaging, I was stabbing things, basically just all kinds of normal EDC work, and it was able to handle all of it. I was scraping this thing against metal when I was trying to get stuff out of a baking tray. The coating held up nicely, the tip held up nicely, the edge is working out phenomenally. It holds an incredible edge, and holds it for a pretty decent amount of time, no matter what you're doing. As long as you're not abusing the knife, I really don't think that you're going to have too much of a problem. But the centering from factory was spot on perfect. At least on mine it was. Excuse me. But with use, it does seem to go over to the right a little bit, which just shows that it's getting loose pretty quickly. But like I said, a little bit of Loctite, and that solved it for quite a while. But yeah, so just be aware of that. But yeah, so that basically seems to be it on this knife. So definitely go out and get one. I got mine from Kershaw guy, which I am really starting to like this guy a lot, because he gets out the knives insanely fast. Really just a pleasure to do business with. He answers any questions you have within like hours of you sending him the email. So it really works out, and he will definitely be seeing more business from me later. So yeah, definitely go out and buy the Kershaw Nura 3.5. So as always, YouTube, stay safe.